Hello everybody, my name is Kaya and this is my Detroit Become Human analysis. Detroit Become Human is a story-based game that has around 40 endings. Yes, I'm filming now. I know, wow. Oh, okay. It is... If you hear a noise, just know it's my dog. She likes to just see what I'm doing all the time, so. This game takes place in the future in 2038 where androids and android uses to the point where android deviancy is a problem. So what are the androids like in this story? So the androids like in the story are human models, kind of, in a way. They look exactly like humans. They talk like humans. They're just not humans. They are powered by therium, which is called blue blood in the game, and biological component. It kind of like pretends to kind of be the heart of the androids in this world. So anyone can buy these androids. They're extremely accessible. In some of the episodes, there are clips of when people could just walk in, buy it. Androids are always on display, etc. So this is a very common technology. So the writer and director, if you see me looking down, by the way, these are my notes. So the writer and director is named David Cage. He's been involved in the game, another story-based game called Heavy Rain and Beyond. Adam Williams is the lead writer of this game, and he also worked on Star Wars Eclipse. So you can tell that there's kind of like this like sci-fi-esque fantasy like background to both of these authors, which you can really see throughout the story of Detroit Become Human. This is a story-based game where decisions affect the story later on. So like I said, there was 40 different endings, so each one of these characters could have a completely different ending than what I'm telling you, but this is like what I'm reading to you, the plot is the more canon ending, if that makes sense. So this story follows 3 androids and their different lives. So just remember that when I tell you all this stuff. It's a very hectic game. So one of the first androids is Connor, and that's like one of the first, that's literally the first android that you see in the beginning of the game. Like you immediately just jump into his life. So he's a police android model that is specifically used to help in investigations. So he is pretty much like this like really advanced model that is not really accessible to the public, so to kind of show like there is levels to this. There's literally levels to these androids. So, and you're probably wondering who's making these androids. CyberLife. So CyberLife is the tech company that creates, manages, and sell androids. His partner for the investigation is this older guy named Hank, who has seniority in this police investigation team. He's a very grumpy, kind of like, I hate androids type of guy. Like, you know, like your drunk uncle at like an event that just be yapping, like that's him. So this game kind of follows their relationship and kind of follows like their storyline into the investigation. So you're probably wondering, what is Connor investigating? He is investigating the android deviancy that's been kind of like on the rise, where there be cases of androids stabbing their owner, or just not following their orders and kind of just deviating from what they're supposed to be doing. So it kind of focuses as well on their relationship and kind of like how Hank starts to soften up to Connor a little bit, as Connor starts to show more human traits. And so as Connor starts to display these human traits and starting to have more emotions and feelings, that's when he starts to realize why deviancy happens, which it's never really cases of androids just acting out and killing people. It's usually a case of mistreatment to the androids, or them developing feelings, or them realizing, hey, what the owner is doing to me is wrong.
He tortured me every day. I did whatever he told me, but there was always something wrong. Then one day, he took a bat and started hitting me. For the first time, I felt scared. Scared he might destroy me, scared I might die. So I grabbed a knife and I stabbed him in the stomach.
So then we have Marcus. If you're probably wondering why Marcus looks familiar, he literally is like from Grey's Anatomy. Marcus's job is to take care of this old artist. He grabs paint for him, and he kind of helps him. Like, he's kind of like a nurse in a way. The artist, in return, kind of encourages him to be a little bit more human, or to push him to kind of show these human emotions. In a way, they kind of have this father-son bond. So the artist has a drug-addicted son, like a real-life person's son, who comes in and tries to take his paintings to sell for more drugs. Marcus is not having it, so he tells him, hey, can you get out? And the son is anti-android. Are we surprised? So they get into this huge tussle, which either ends in the son dying or the artist dying. But whatever way you choose, the police is going to shoot him anyway. So they shoot him and he gets scrapped to a junkyard. He's trying to figure out how to survive. He's grabbing things to like put himself together. And then he finds out about this place called Jericho, which is a safe haven for all androids. So the story kind of follows him through his journey of trying to find Jericho, and then Jericho, and seeing all these signs and getting help from androids. But when he gets there, he realizes this isn't it. So when he realizes this isn't it, he decided to start a movement demanding android freedom, and he eventually becomes a leader for this specific movement. So now on to Kara. Kara is a android, kind of like a homemaker android in a way, where she's just kind of there to just do tasks for the home and everyone, and is abusive to his daughter Alice. As we start to learn more about Alice and Todd and Alice and their background and stuff, while Alice is doing these multiple tasks for Todd, we realize that Kara was broken before and got fixed. So one night, during one of Todd's drug-induced rampages, he decided to freak out and abuse both Kara and Alice physically. And so this drives to finally lean into deviancy and escape with Alice in the house. So their storyline is pretty much just survival, trying to find places to sleep and eat, etc., with Kara kind of acting like this mother figure towards Alice. They start to hear like safe places and stuff from sympathetic humans to kind of like help androids who are being misused. They try to find different places from like word of mouth. One place was like this weird android experimenter who tried to like kill Kara, so that was crazy. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, shall we? Some important subjects that are brought up in this game is racism and discrimination. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is that there's a lot of references to the Underground Railroad, specifically with Kara's and Marcus's storyline, where Kara goes to this house of sympathetic humans, much like how enslaved people would go to sympathetic white people's houses to try to escape to freedom. A lot of the stuff is like through word of mouth. You learn from others. It's kind of like, it's a really difficult journey. So it's also similar to how Marcus is trying to find Jericho, just with the symbols and the just talking with their androids, etc. Also civil rights with the protests and a lot of the sayings that the protests were using. And then also too, this has a lot of references to Jim Crow, and more specifically the segregation era. One of the big things I noticed on the bus, how the androids were forced to be in the back, and there's a lot of like android only sections, and a lot of androids can't be in here, like when Connor tries to meet Hank for the first time, and a lot of people they're trying to permit him from being in the bar because he's an android. And as well as Marcus being physically attacked and called many names on his way to get paint for his previous owner, Carl. So
City, we have to burn the androids. Let us burn them all. Why do you look at me so, demon? I know who you are. I can see through you. You are the one by whom the evil will come.
The theme was the misuse of technology. The one thing I've noticed was the Android strip club that Connor investigates, where it's kind of like a strip club plus X work, and how one of the androids turned deviant because of how a customer treated them, and also protest resilience. Marcus's storyline is filled with a lot of protest, trying to stand up for android rights, etc. The sci-fi elements, the androids, like I said, the blue blood mechanism, Ethereum, that kind of powers everything in them, and that's how they work, as well as their bio component that kind of acts as the heart of the android, kind of like a battery pack in a way. A lot of the sci-fi elements of this world is kind of like how futuristic it is. Just a lot of the art direction in general is very futuristic, very like holograms and etc. Things when you think of futuristic city, like hologram displays, hologram borders. Like, it's very technologically advanced, which is expected for a place that can have the technology to have androids. The one thing that I thought that was interesting was that when Detroit Become Human came out, AI wasn't prominent that much, but it seems to kind of predict the realities of AI and how humans would use them. So in our world, obviously we don't have androids, but we do have artificial intelligence, like the artificial intelligence technology, with ChatGPT, Gemini, all that jazz. A lot of the problems in Detroit Become Human, it's also kind of reflected in how people are using AI today, more specifically with the misuse of AI. So an example of a misuse of AI is the sexual use of AI, which also happens in Detroit Become Human with the Android Strip Club. Like places like Character AI. I think OpenAI as well is also doing this thing where they're trying to have 18 or over chat logs. That's not very great.
Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I just want to say thank you so much for listening and watching me yap about my favorite game, and I hope you have a great summer. Thank you so much.